Following Colorado's 8th spring practice, we got a chance to talk to Coach Prime again. And I don't know if there's anybody that sells the facilities here in Boulder better than Coach Prime. They put together this fantastic facility, and because the football team was struggling for so many years, it really didn't get the respect that it deserves. But you can tell Coach Prime is really enjoying his early time here in Boulder.
Yeah, I mean, today he highlighted the pristine grass, the golf course-like grass, and it's certainly different from what you get at Jackson State, right? And before that, when he's at the high school ranks, and even though it's Texas high school, but it's very different here. And basically his message with that is, if you can't go out here on these type of facilities and give it your all, what's your problem? And I think that helps him as a coach to figure out who's all in. 'Cause he mentioned in Florida there was I don't know what he called them, but these things with little prickers that were in the grass, right? That that makes it tough. But there's some excuses in other places, but there's no excuses here.
Yeah, just very consistent. Even in the short time that we've had around Coach Prime, I think 5 opportunities to talk to him. He is very consistent about just the discipline side of things, and it's a no-nonsense program. And again, reiterated today that the football team we're practicing with right now is not the team that we're going to have out there when we kick off the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the message from day one. It's like, hey, a lot of you guys won't be here, and here we are. We're now just past the halfway point of spring ball, and that's still the message. Like, hey, this is not our group. What you see on April 22nd, 45,000 fans come out here to see it. This is not the group. I mean, a lot of them will be here, but a lot won't. And so I think that's a very clear message you send publicly and also to the team, that you better step up your game if you want to be on this football team.
Obviously, Jimmy Horn earned his number earlier this week, number 5, and then we found out today that Travis Hunter has earned his number. He said he wanted to wear number 12, and he also said that Shane Cokes has earned his number as well. That doesn't surprise us based on all the comments we've heard from coaches. Now, Cokes wanted 0 initially, and I don't think that's going to happen for him.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know what number he's going to be at, but it's not a surprise to see that he's the one, because he's been highlighted a few times already by coaches. And he's a guy that, hey, he came from the Ivy League, but I mean, he was a dominant player down there at Dartmouth, and it sounds like he's doing the same thing up here. So it's great to see, because you need those transfers. These guys, I mean, the whole point is to bring these guys in that can make your team better, and it sounds like they are.
Did you take anything else away from what Coach Prime said today?
Well, it just really that they got a long ways to go. I mean, there's a lot of work left to do, and they're starting the process. But again, with the fact that this isn't the team that he's going to have in the fall, there's a long way to go, and they're still learning. And so they're well on their way, but they're still a long way.
Cameron Silman Craig talked to us as well. One of the transfers from Jackson State, played quite a bit of football there and made some big plays. He's a guy that's been very vocal in the behind-the-scenes video, and I think part of that comes to the fact that he's comfortable around these guys, and he can talk a little trash to the guys that he knows on offense. But he's somebody that brings a lot of confidence with him to the practice fields.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of confidence, and I don't know if you chatted with him when he committed. I did a phone interview with him, and he's clearly got some confidence, and he's a smaller guy, but he's always played with that chip on his shoulder, being a smaller guy, that, hey, I've got to be confident and better, and he brings that to the field, and he's one of those Jackson guys that knows the standard here, for Coach Prime, and he's got to help establish that. I mean, guys like Shedeur and Travis and Cameron Silman Craig, I mean, they've got to help establish that, and he's doing it.
Yeah, and being the quarterback of the secondary back there, going against this offense in practice every day, that can't be an easy task. He has a familiarity with some of the guys from Jackson State, but a new defensive coordinator, a new position coach, and a new offense that he's going up against. I do like that safeties group and how that's going to come together, especially assuming Shedeur Sanders joins the mix. Trevor Woods obviously made a lot of plays for Colorado last year, and they bring in Miles Slusher from Arkansas. That's one position that every year going into camp you kind of had to hold your breath if you were a Colorado fan. And we're starting to see certain positions cultivate depth that we haven't seen in this program in a long time.
Yeah, and a guy that every time we talk about safety, I mentioned one of my favorite guys from the 22 class was Dylan Dixon, and I don't know how he's doing out there, but he was one of my favorite guys, one of the highest rated guys in that class. He's here. Oki Salavea is out there, practicing, and so you got some of those guys from the last year's class that are now out there doing some things. So I like that safety group as well, and you add Shiloh to it, and I think that's going to be an interesting group.
Tyron Taylor as well has played quite a bit of football here. Shedeur Sanders talked to us today as well, and man, he's calm young man. Like he is definitely, you can just tell nothing in life really rattles him, which is a good attribute to have when you're a quarterback.
Well, I think when you grow up in that household,
Yeah.
there's probably that's got to rub off on you, that confidence and all that stuff. And he's clearly got it. And his nickname has grown, because he was always very mature as a young kid, and he's showing that maturity now as the quarterback. And they need that. They need a guy that's going to come in here and be confident and be a leader. And I saw a little bit of that at Jackson State when I went down there for the Celebration Bowl. We're seeing some of that at the couple of practices that we've seen here. He steps up as a leader, and they need that.
Yeah. And going along with his nickname, we heard him talk about his study habits today. He's putting in a lot of work. Again, I think Coach Prime and his family has this perception of them that they're always just kind of laid back and joking around with each other. But the word we keep hearing is that, Shedeur Sanders is hard a worker as there is.
Yeah. Well, we know they like to shop and things like that, but clearly, that's not all they're about. I mean, Shedeur talked about how he spends time, watching the history of, Coach Lewis's offense. He'll watch Kent State tape, and he said from like 9:30 to 11, I'll watch some Kent State tape, and he wants to learn, about that offense, learn the history of it, so that he can play better in that offense. And he actually said that we've heard this offense is very complicated. He said today, this offense really isn't that hard if you just dive into it. You've got to put in the effort to do it, and he's one that will do that.
All right, well, you've got a youth sports game to get to, so we'll cut this short. But Colorado will be off on Monday, I believe, and then back at it on Tuesday. We'll be back with more analysis then.